Welcome to the Quick Stop Formula One podcast. My name is Nyasha, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Joining me, as ever, is my co-host and co-founder, Thandie Sabanda. Thandie, how are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm okay. I said something sad on Twitter. I think everyone thinks I'm depressed, and I'm not. Guys, I really appreciate the support and the messages. I feel bad when I say things. I'm really sarcastic, and I think I said that my life was falling apart. It's not.
No,
it's not falling apart. It's not. You know, I've had a bad day, but that's just work. It's just work. Normal work day. I've got a glass of red wine. You know, don't worry.
Wow, I'm so jealous. What wine is it? Is it good?
It is actually a really cheap Aldi wine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't tell.
Life is falling apart.
Yeah, life is falling apart. Grab that off the shelf with the quickness. But look, it's not about me.
It's about our guest.
It's our guest. Look, this guy, friend of the show. Look.
The smooth operator.
Hey, Thandie with the lyrics. Come on.
Operator.
Hey.
With a voice that melts like butter.
It really does. And you may have seen him on our pre-show doing you incredible hot laps. You've seen him on our fan forum podcast. And now we've got him on as a guest, friend of the show, man like AMGDenz. Denz, how is it going?
Oh, Nyasha, Thandie, thank you so much for having me on the platform again. Honestly, it means the world to me. And also a huge shout out to the Quick Stop F1 Nation. You guys are the best. Big up your damn selves every single time.
Nice, Steph.
Honestly, the greatest content, greatest F1 community. And I'm so proud of the movement and progress that we're making as well. It's absolutely sensational.
Then you're giving me goosebumps, but
you know, appreciate you, Denzel. Thank you for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
So look, first and foremost, if you're watching this, making sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment, say hello. If you're listening to us on Spotify, leave us a review. Follow us on Instagram. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. All of them things there, they really help. I think I asked you guys to review on Spotify. We went from 84 to like 115 or something. That is incredible. We need more.
Bloody hell! You not like us like that? Whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I was looking at other podcasts. I was like, oh, these guys have only got like a few hundred. I was like, we could get.
Not you spying on other people.
I'm spying on all of them. I even listen. I listen to some podcasts with love, like Pit Stop Fracker, and a couple other on the chicane. That's not a podcast though. I don't want to say like I listen to on the chicane. It's a podcast because it's not a podcast. We have to be very clear about that. But anyway, it's not about the other podcast. Just review us. Thank you very much. But then, we're coming off of a Grand Prix, a Saudi Arabia Grand Prix, which is, it's been a madness. It feels like we were really kind of locked into that Grand Prix the whole weekend for reasons kind of outside of on the track stuff. I guess I'd love to get your thoughts on essentially what you thought of the situation that arose on Friday night. So for those who maybe don't know, I guess just as a quick rundown, during practice on Friday, there was a missile strike on, there was a missile strike on the Aramco site, 10 miles from the circuit. Obviously, it created a huge explosion. There was smoke. You could see that from the track. Long story short, F1 said the race was still going ahead. The drivers held their own meeting late at night, around half an hour after the decision was given, which lasted for about 3-4 hours, where it was clear that they didn't want to race, but they were then kind of persuaded to carry on. Denz, what are your thoughts, I guess, on that whole situation? And I guess just in general about racing in Saudi Arabia and you know everything that kind of brings up?
Great question, bro. And boy, here we go again, is in the great words of Carl Johnson from GTA. Here we go again, because to me, it shouldn't have taken place. It highlights that F1 is like an epitome of just, or the epitome of contradictions, which I'll come back to. And Sir Lewis Hamilton warned us about this 2 years ago when he said in 2020, cash is king. You know, you have to look at the contradictions that are being and taking place here, because it was only a couple of weeks ago they refused to race in Russia, which obviously there's been an ongoing dispute and a war going on between them and Russia, we're fully aware of. However, they refused to cancel the race, and in the middle of the epicenter of an ongoing conflict between Saudi Arabia and Yemen, as you rightly pointed out as well, with missiles 10 kilometers around the circuit. For context, the Nordschleife Nürburgring is longer and farther away from the missiles than the missiles themselves were from the track, which is nuts. And listen, you guys have pointed it out perfectly. Corporate greed in this thing, because I could just imagine Russ Brawn, the managing director, and Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of the Formula One group, going to the drivers' meeting and saying, boom, all right, you see us, yeah? Secured this fat bag from these promoters. Jeez, you see the millies, this racks on racks in the corner. We just secured our deal. So you see you, Lewis, Tota, you man, yeah? Yeah, speak for you, man. Still, you guys just have to just soak it up, just take it in. Literally, if you see one or two fireworks or explosions, might just be fireworks, all calm. And I'm sure that they would have probably gaslighted the situation and tried to make it seem that it wasn't as serious as it was. And this is really sad. It shows that the whole commercial group has no regard for humanity and human life. It's POP, profits over people, because at the end of the day, they endangered the lives of marshals, fans, drivers, teams. And it's not just the drivers and the mechanics, it's the engineers, it's the catering staff, it's the media teams, all of them. I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
As far as we know, at least, not one hair on their bodies have been hurt or touched as a result of this race that we took place. But yeah, they took a lot of unnecessary risks. And it's this, as I said before, an epitome or an epitome of many contradictions that we've seen with the FIA and the whole circus over the last couple of years.
I told you, it's fun to listen to.
Very, very, very. I'm going to insert some applause for that, because I was definitely correct. If my button works, we're going to insert it after. So, Thandie, Denz made a point about it being a circus. Like, for you, I know you text me you text me on Saturday saying this is wrong. You're not
what I said accurately. I think I said this.
Do you want me to read it out? Also, can you come closer to your microphone, please?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, could you bring your microphone closer to you, because you're gonna look like you are.
Okay.
Yeah, could you just bring... Right, 2 seconds, Thandie. I am going to get your message up. Your message said, I think this whole thing at Jeddah is disgusting. Also, my mum just offered a Zoom subscription. And we're on Zoom right now. So the shout out, Thandie's mum, one and only, absolute G. So, it's disgusting. Why is it disgusting?
It's disgusting because you could see from the faces, if anyone saw the fake pictures from the driver's secret little meeting, they looked distressed. They look absolutely frightened, and you would be like, we are not monkeys to be put on show. Yes, we have signed up, but this is a humanity thing. But it's clear that this country does not give a fuck. This FIA does not give a fuck about humanity. Sorry, censor that out. And it's just a reflection of it. No one gives a fuck about the drivers. They've signed a contract that's it's like when you're in school and you're like, I don't want to play PE because, I haven't got my boots, or it's freezing outside, it's raining. And they're like, the teacher's like, no, go out there, but 100 times worse because there's missiles raining from the fucking sky. So we do definitely need to start thinking about well, we don't have to start thinking about it. It just reflects, as Denz just said, like the morals of Formula One in general, the lack thereof morals, and the lack thereof care for anybody apart from the money. We get an A-Rap money.
We are. Well, they are, and also
Mhm.
that song got cancelled. So let's not sing that.
Yeah, that song got cancelled. But did Jetta?
No, exactly. DJ Khaled saw the error of his ways. Stefano Domenicali clearly has not.
But we did. Are we still doing the Russian GP?
We're not. No, it got cancelled.
We're not. It got cancelled, didn't it?
Yeah, it got cancelled.
So we want to question the dynamics around them things, but we know what's going on, guys. We know what's going on.
The sport is fucked.
Basically.
I'm sick of this sport is lurching from one madness to another, and it is just. Someone said it. I think it was Curtis, big old Curtis Modric, editor of Autocar Car Magazine. Car Magazine. He said Formula One is going to eat itself, and I could not agree more. Like,
Yum yum yum.
yum, 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 yum. Money. That's all they care about. And look, I keep saying this. I understand. 2020 and 2021 reduced revenues. There was hardly anyone at the races. COVID. They had to put on a show. All this, that, and the other. They have to get that money back somehow.
But surely we've made it back by now with all them fucking expensive ass tickets.
Well, they would have. I actually got an email from Miami earlier, and I was like, oh, let me see how much that is. Not going. So very expensive. So all I would say is that I get it, but like for them to be chasing money on this level, and for them to be to just for them to just disregard safety in the name of a Formula One race. Like, of course, Toto's words say, this is probably the safest place in Saudi Arabia right now. Not very classy, but also, you can imagine that place was armed to the teeth. Like, they had obviously
incredibly distasteful.
It was distasteful. It wasn't the only distasteful thing that Toto said this weekend either. I think there's a whole conversation to be had around how we discuss conflict in countries that are not European, and I think we've seen that with Ukraine. And I guess Denz, how much of a stain on, I guess, the reputation of F1 is this? I guess, does it really affect them? They've done it now, nothing happened, they race there. Do you think there'll be any lasting consequences, or is this just, a day in the life of the sport?
Great question there, bro. And to be honest, it depends how you look at it. I think from the short term, no, these guys don't care. They're very thankful that nothing actually happened, thank God. And they're able to just run off into the distance with the bag they just secured, no doubt. But definitely in the long term events of the sport, it absolutely leaves a huge blemish. Because going back to my other kind of statement, F1 being the epitome of contradictions, you saw so many with this race. Like, I've touched on the fact that Liberty Media have said that, they're going to campaign for this whole no war thing that they had, which you saw the drivers clearly protesting and campaigning for in Bahrain. And then you go to a country with an ongoing conflict. Then cool, you got FOM, the Formula One management, saying we race as one. And then in Drive to Survive, it's become the race against one, when it was everybody biased against Mercedes and Lewis. And then the worst one, the people I really have to stick it onto, as the FIA, because they had a howler this weekend, and short term and long term, because I wasn't quite sure if you guys were following the F2. There was an incident where a car had a really heavy crash. I think it was Logan Sargent, American F2 driver. His car stranded on the side of the wall. And rather than red flagging the race completely, they brought two heavy duty JCB extractors on the circuit whilst they've still got marshals and cars driving around, like a la Jules Bianchi, which is nuts to me. You think that these people would have learned, and it doesn't stop there either. You know, Mick had the mother of accidents on Saturday. You know, I laugh from a place of discomfort because it literally could have just happened like that. And again,
like a blip.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and again, just it highlights some of the faults with this. They were in such a hurry to secure the bag with this venue with the promoters that they've compromised on certain basic fundamental track features. Like this track lacks a lot of runoff areas, so it would link back to why those heavy duty extractors were on the circuit, because there was no way that they could extract the car through an escape road. And again, we saw the same thing happen on the Sunday when Ricardo broke down, and I'm sure we'll touch on this later on in the podcast. But you saw Lewis going past, and everyone was saying, "Oh, why didn't Lewis box?" But as Lewis was driving by, if you look at the onboard of his car, you can see Ricardo walking or like getting out of the cockpit of the McLaren on the race circuit with cars still going over speeds of excess of 40 or 50 miles an hour. And then Marshall's pushing a car down a pit lane when you have the likes of Kevin Magnussen and Hulkenberg pitting because the FIA didn't react in time and close the pit lane entry too. It's bonkers. It's so bizarre, but it just highlights all of these flaws that we've mentioned. And soon it is going to add up, and there's only so many times you can escape fate.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many things, and I think you're right. We will get to the Hamilton thing later because I think there's an argument there about the team, Hamilton, FIA, between the three of them. Why didn't he come into the pits? And, you know, whatever. There's been a lot of debate about that. But I guess, Thandie, before we move on from this, for me, you know what someone said in the fucking live show the other day, and it really pissed me off because they're right. But you know when someone reads you for filth and you're like, why did you have to read me like that? They said that I did the pregnant pause thing like Will Buxton, and now I notice myself doing it.
Yeah, but you know what? I'd say that's the thing I enjoy most about listening to the podcast, because when you do the pregnant pause, yours isn't as underwhelming as Will Buxton's. Yours is always a great thing that's going to come out. That's why I always, if you look at me in the camera, I'm always like, what is he going to say?
We could see that from when I was trying to praise Lewis Hamilton, and I was like, Lewis, I love you. And then your eyes went, what's he about to say? Anyway, let's not talk about that. So what I was going to ask was, fans of the sport who are one of the things about Formula One, right, is that they're saying that we need to go to these places, not need to, but we go to these places to shine a light on what is happening in these areas, right, and to spread the gospel of sport, essentially, and how he did that part. He didn't say, but essentially, it is like, you know, we're taking ourselves.
What? Rich, the hierarchy, the pyramid. Is that what we're trying to shine a light on? Because I'm not seeing anything here. All I'm seeing is money.
Well, yeah. So, you know, there's the obvious corruption. But
I guess what? Daniel Ricciardo can't even finish an interview without even giving an explanation of what he thinks about. What are you shining a light on? Your own lies. Surely you don't believe your own lies. Surely not.
But Nyasha, just to add to that point as well, it vexes me. It vexes me so hard because it's not like somebody put a gun to these people's head and said, you have to do the immoral, corrupt, bad mind thing, you know. There are more sustainable things they could do for the best of F1. You know, you've got an emerging market in one of the biggest continents in the world, Africa. You've got an existing circuit that has raced Formula One in the past. Shout out to all my South Africans because they're amazing too.
Shout out to all our South African fans. We love you. We're coming.
Literally. But again, you know, just to kind of highlight that point, you've got GT3 that races there regularly. You've got World Endurance Championships that race there regularly. Why? Why is it that when it came to Zandvoort, they spent millions, if not billions, redeveloping the circuit. And they did the same with Imola too. But then when it's countries that are outside of Europe or, the affluent ones of such in the big circle, how is it when it comes to Kyalami? They can't invest and upgrade the license to make it suitable for these modern day Formula One cars. It's an absolute farce.
Investors don't have oil money.
Mm,
Big oil money.
that Nikita Mazepin flex. That
oil money. You know what I mean? Sorry,
it's crazy.
We have, platinum, a little bit of, we have stones. Sorry.
Well, well, no, for sure. And look, you're both not wrong. Devil's advocate. I hate being that guy. Devil's advocate. People will say, oh, look, we're not going to listen to them bad mind cunts that are saying, is the C word? I can't say the C word. Is that bad?
I'm just surprised it came out of your mouth.
Yeah, but no, because what I'm about to say is something bad that they say. But maybe I'll beep that. But so we can't listen. The bad man are like, Africans wouldn't be able to afford to go anyway. Africans, like these Africans. There's a lot of disparaging remarks about Africa. And especially, obviously, about South Africa. A lot of people don't know, like, obviously, I've got a South African family. I know, Thandie, you've got a South African family. Like, we are actually part South African. So it's very offensive. It's extra offensive to us when we hear, like, that side of things. Anyway, it should be offensive to anyone because the idea that a country which hosted a whole World Cup couldn't host a Formula One race, given the right circumstances, is ridiculous. Anyway... Some people might say that it needs investment, like government investment, private investment, essentially backing to make it happen or to pay the race fee. The Saudi Arabian countries are paying 55 million for the races. This is before any track. Right, so
I'm sure if we were to look through them books, there's something there that's not adding up about what we're...
You stopped talking. I was like, is the mic on?
I'm pretty sure if we look through the books of the business that's being done with the Saudi Arabians and certain European countries, some numbers aren't adding up. Certain investors have done something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is the thing. Yeah. Where is that money coming from? And also, don't keep talking about a race in South Africa and have promoters from South Africa saying we're ready to go. Like to upgrade, to get us to grade 1, the upgrades needed are minor. Like for us, all we need is to know that there's going to be a Grand Prix, and then we can make those upgrades in the same way that was it Saudi Arabia that needed to know there was going to be a Grand Prix, and then they just built the circuit. Was it that or Qatar? I can't remember which circuit was basically built last minute last season. But surely as a business, if it means so much about going to Africa, you would enable that process. You would be working together with Kyalami to ensure that they got the backing they deserved. You would be doing as good a price as you would give to Monaco. I think Monaco pays £15 million per season for their right to host a Grand Prix. Of course, there's history there, but
I bet they do.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, there's an opportunity to create or to cultivate an entire market there. It would be historic, and you would be. And that's the thing. F1 they're still old white men doing the business, and with that becomes the kind of mindset and the thinking instead of forward-thinking action. Look, Drive to Survive wouldn't have happened the way it was if Mercedes signed up and Red Bull signed up. It would have been a standard end of year review of just on track. The only reason they started putting in stories is because they had to fill time because the two biggest teams, Ferrari and Mercedes, didn't sign up, and then by accident they stumbled across this keeping up with the Hornets platform, and that's like grown the fucking sport. But they didn't think to do that. They stumbled across it. So the good things that happened in Formula One, some of them are an accident. They're not even meant to be. The people who are in charge are clearly clueless, because we have in situations where you are not going to Russia because there's war, but we'll go to Jeddah. There's a strike at the track, near the track, but this is the safest place to be. It just, no war campaign, but we're not, obviously we're going to stay in this war region. It just doesn't make sense. It's not for anyone of color's interest, really, this sport, and we always have to fight against it rather than feeling embraced by it, and it's really fucking annoying. And this weekend really highlighted that. But we move.
Gunshot yourself. That was a nice speech. I liked it.
Thank you. I'm still used to getting new things here. Let's go. And there was some racing.
Jeddah.
Denz, I know you touched on the track earlier. We did have this conversation, I remember, last year as well. I can't remember. Tommy was on the show. We were talking about how dangerous the track is. They've made some improvements, but it's still a mental track. I guess we've had 2 races there, and we have had big accidents, but luckily no one was okay. And I guess the reason Mick Schumacher didn't race the next day is because they didn't want to jeopardize having a spare car for Australia. So if he'd crashed again, there would be no car essentially for Australia. So he was fine medically to race. But is this track a bit too much? Or are we just being sensitive? And this is what Formula One is about. It's about fast tracks.
Please think of the children.
And some of these guys are very young men, but are we being sensitive, or are there genuine concerns about how dangerous this track is?
No. To answer the question simply, no, Nyasha, absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, there's no recourse for something like that happening. I don't feel that people should feel that they're being sensitive or being concerned for human well-being, of course. And we've seen, I really think that this track, doing some research on it, because it's not even designed by Herman Tilke, which is the normal guy that does the ziggy zagga 90-degree corners, long straights, yada yada yada. It's his son Carsten.
It's his son,
which again is nuts, because
F1
I don't know.
bringing ting, bruv. Honestly,
Exactly. It's just it's not even just they're giving track designers or architects from different backgrounds the opportunity to, hold the torch of such. It's just an incestual thing, running and passing through the family, which is mad. But yeah, you don't know how much experience Carsten has. To me as well, guys, it just felt like the whole design just feels like a knee-jerk reaction to lazy Formula One fans saying, "Oh, street circuits are boring. Oh my God, you can't take on them." Oh. And then Carsten and his dad now said, "Yeah, is that what you man think? Yeah, street circuits are boring. Yeah, boom. All right." Faster street circuit, 160 mile per hour average speeds, blind corners, you can't even see the apex of the next corner, no runoff, most brutal circuit. Yeah, it has its pros, it has its cons, but you don't want to be endangering people. You don't want to wait. You don't want to be reactive. You want to be proactive with any crash prevention measures you could put in. And yeah, I just think it's just been an element of luck and blessings, or the fact that we haven't had a fatality or anything too seriously. I think last year, previously, a car stood on the grid, a driver drove into the back of the other driver, and that, I guess, could happen on any circuit. So that's a given, but people have a right to be concerned, because at the end of the day, you don't want to see young people losing their lives in such tragic conditions just because of corporate greed. And they need to proactively review. It's not enough to just say, well, we put a couple of pyrotechnics so the drivers can see a big screen 60 yards out what's happening in the third sector. That's not good enough. It's not good enough when you have 2 JCB extractors on the circuit with marshals and still cars on the circuit. That's not good enough. It's not good enough that you got Fernando Alonso and Ricciardo parked on the pit lane entry, and Magnus and Hulkenberg are still trying to get into the pits because the FIA haven't closed the pits. That's not good enough. And until, it's sad. I feel until something happens, God forbid, touch wood, it's tough. And we say in the Caribbean, like, if you don't hear, you must feel. So I hope that they don't have to feel. Honest to God.
I feel like my mum said that to me at some point. She's not even Caribbean. But I hear it. Thandie.
Mhm.
I think Denz has said that as perfectly as anyone could say it, to be honest. Brother, it's mad, yeah? Like, you and Tommy, it's just like...
Butter.
Bro, it's just crazy.
Butter.
So, Thandie, qualifying, Saturday. Where shall I start with this? Let's just get into it. Mercedes, Hamilton, 16th out of Q1 for the first time since, Denz, correct me if I'm wrong, since 2017.
Yeah, 2017 in Brazil. I think he'd already won the championship, and he's just doing a bad thing, doing a bit of Jim Corner drifting, and he crashed the high-speed corner. But he'd already won the championship, so nobody cared.
Yeah, I think
this time we do care, though.
This time we do care.
This time we care.
It's the first time on pace, I think, since 2009 that he's missed Q3. Thandie. So the reason for it is that, I mean, he was okay. And obviously, it wasn't great. The Mercedes car isn't great. We know that. But he was comfortably 5th or 6th fastest, probably 5th fastest, a 10th or 2 ahead of George, but obviously still behind the 2 teams ahead of Mercedes right now. But they went for a setup change between FP3 and Q1, and that setup change did not work. And the car felt twitchy. He didn't have confidence in it. It was clear that he was going to struggle to get out of Q1 from the get-go. I guess just your thoughts on what is turning out to be a difficult start for Lewis Hamilton, and what we thought would be a procession, given the fact that Mercedes didn't develop the car last season.
Yeah, so as always, Lewis is a great sportsman. He's a trooper. He'll never complain. You won't hear him on the radio crying too tough, and he'll always try to keep the fan spirits up. And I guess he has hope in it. That fact, obviously, that he hasn't been in that position since 2017 is disheartening. However, just, I guess, keep the spirits up and keep it going on what we can do in terms of Mercedes, beautiful garments.
Beautiful gowns. Beautiful gowns.
Beautiful gowns.
Yeah.
Jeez, if silence could speak.
No, it's peak. It's very peak.
You know what? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Formula One is a sport that one can enjoy and actually stand several races and several teams. The dominant teams have always been Mercedes and Red Bull. This year we can see there's new teams who are getting the limelight, etc., and it opens you to a new perspective. This podcast would not be fun if we just came on every day and we were AMG fans. So I want to make it clear that yes, I am still pro AMG, but it is we are still open to liking a few other guys. And do you know what? I look and I see Charles doing his thing, and I see, Charles doing his thing, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually happy for him. You know what I mean? So it's really
basically, you've seen Charles doing his thing, and let's get into this now.
Yeah,
because you're not the only one. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, but I'm not like them. I know who you're thinking, but I'm not like them.
No. I'm not saying you're like anyone. I'm just saying, Charles is a charming person. Okay. Charismatic,
Burn on me.
Charming, handsome man. Okay, let's just
burn on me.
So I wouldn't be surprised. You wouldn't be the only one.
I like seeing Signs happy.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear Lewis say, I can't keep up with the house. We are living in a glitch.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying to you guys, my fellow Mercedes fans, is I need you guys to ride the glitch or will not enjoy the season.
Yeah.
Ride the glitch, ride the technicalities of it all.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's okay to stand Yuki Tsunoda. It's all right to say, those Ferraris don't look too bad. I just don't want to hear none of you saying stuff like, go Red Bull.
Yeah.
That's blasphemy, innit?
That's blasphemy.
That's not in our culture as Team LA. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's for you. But it's okay to sometimes say, the McLarens look good today.
Well, they don't, but yeah.
No, they don't.
They don't.
But as I said, Nyasha, ride the glitch.
Ride the glitch.
Yeah.
Ride the glitch. There is the title of the podcast right there. Ride the glitch. Denz, ride the glitch. Thoughts?
Well, listen, I'm coming in with that heavy AMG propaganda here. Listen, I'm not taking no prisoners with nobody, fam, because I'm still on this Mercedes AMG hype. Always have been, always will be. And listeners, the great saying is, tough times never last. Only tough people last, okay? Okay, and secondly of all, yeah, like I do empathize with people's concerns. I think everybody would have wanted, at least in the Mercedes camp, for Lewis to just have brought this nice W13 with its 0 side pods, gallop into the distance, mash everybody up, and to secure the official A4 championship, no doubt. But having said that, Mercedes aren't just here as like a little man team, Mercedes, big MB, Mercedes-Benz Mythical Brilliance, they're going to come back with the AMG sauce. Trust me when I say that. Trust me when I tell you that, guys, because listen, my team, I'm accustomed to seeing my team holding up trophies. I'm used to seeing bare armpits and them things there, you understand? I'm used to seeing Lewis with champagne on Champagne Lane, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And honestly, like, Mercedes aren't no little man team. They ain't no, like, overrated gauchos and them things there, yeah. This is the flipping Munch Club experience, 5-star extravaganza, yeah. Listen, so yeah, I'm not gonna be naive. There are problems. There is an elephant in the room, most obviously, with the car. We can see in qualifying that has a very narrow setup window, and unfortunately for Lewis, maybe his mechanics got a bit experimental and took it outside of that zone. But it's not the first time for Mercedes. I'd like to remind you guys of the W8, the Diva car, which again also had very similar characteristics. It was very naive and very stubborn to kind of work outside of certain parameters. And ultimately, this is the whole point of these rules. These whole rules were designed to reshuffle the pack. They were designed to like put Mercedes basically on the back foot. So they're achieving their job for now, but we're only 2 races in the season. And people need to remember even, the beloved W12 when it wasn't too hot to begin with. She was just getting ready and letting the sauce marinate. And then come Silverstone, bam, new aerodynamic package, slap up max. And then in Brazil, bam, I come with the salsa. I just come with sauce, the spicy engine, that spicy, like Munch Club sauce. So,
I'm gonna,
best believe you can't keep a good man down. Trust me. And it's not over for Lewis. I understand that you have to be realistic. You can only go off of what you can see, but it's not over for them. They're going to be spending hours. I really feel sorry for George because he probably just thought, I'm just going to jump in and it's just going to be honky-dory. Man's going to have like the thing, like Uncle Ben's rice. It's pre-cooked for me.
Pre-cooked, microwave.
Exactly. Slap the thing in the
microwave.
Mean?
Pick it with a fork. Stick it in there. 2 minutes.
You got to boil the water.
Right, you got to wash that thing 8 times.
Wash and boil, okay?
You got to get rid of all that starchy water, bro.
This is what I mean, So it's going to be a journey and it's not going to be easy. Like, I think we're all kind of getting that reality check, unfortunately. But I wouldn't say it's over. And again, I think the mere fact that they're not panicking, they're not shouting over the radio at each other, they're not imploding like a certain Red Bull powertrains and them man there. It shows to me that they may be working on something. And eventually when it does click, whoof.
Yeah. Well, look, there are there are rumors of potentially upgrades coming for Australia, which were meant for Imola, but they're trying to push it forward for Australia, and that's weight reduction, updates, floor updates, and I can't remember something else as well. Engine updates. Are planning 2 updates between now and September, when the cutoff is for engine updates as well. So, look, Mercedes, when it comes to the Constructors' Championship, since the hybrid era, have not lost a single development war.
The reigning champions.
Yeah, and I would implore people to just know that. Look, it looked tight in 2017 when Ferrari had a better car than us. It looked tight in 2018. It looked tight last year, and we had our hands tied behind our back last year. So, for sure, congratulations to Ferrari. For sure, it's so good seeing them up there. I'm not gonna lie, like, I have a soft spot for Ferrari. I have a soft spot for Charles for sure. I just want him to do well. But I think. Look, sometimes I support Arsenal. Yeah, I support Arsenal since the day I was born. Yeah, when I was born, but when I started supporting them, we were sick. Yeah, we were sick. And when I was so old, when I was 16.
Uncle Nyasha. Allegations are going to start rising, my brother.
Well, you know what, yeah? This podcast is good because it stopped me having a midlife crisis at like 45, right?
Fair. And you're nowhere near 45, by the way.
I'm nowhere near it.
Nowhere near that.
But now I'm just fully aware that I am not viewed as a young man. And that's okay. That's all right. You're pretty. But when I was 16, Arsenal went the whole season unbeaten. We didn't lose a single game, okay? And I was like, we won the league, and I was like, this is what sport is like. My team wins all the time. This is awesome. The next 18 years have not been fun at all. There's been the odd...
Wait. Please do not compare Mercedes with small Arsenal and their 18-year loss.
Well, obviously, no. I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying.
They're not
the same. They're not the same.
Bruh.
All I'm gonna say, is that like when you're used to winning, it does suck when you start losing. Like, it sucks. It's not nice.
So you either choose delusion and ride the glitch, or you sit there and sulk.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's okay to say, do you know what? I like the other team. I'm not their biggest fan. Beautiful gums.
And
yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you.
You're a turncoat, but yeah, carry on.
Huh?
You're a glory hunter.
Yeah.
We've been
knowing about that.
Yeah.
You knew who I was when you picked me up, okay? You knew who I was, okay? I've never been a liar about that, okay? But I will tell you that I definitely take my love for Lewis and Mercedes seriously. I am still always, when I say this, I'm not saying go off, spread your wings, little pretties, to where's, because I am always Team AMG. And as I was going to say, I'm going to admit this is my 25th year. The other day, I was brushing my hair and I found a grey hair. Oh. And I honestly do not believe,
Pardon?
I found a grey hair, and I honestly do not believe I would have that grey hair if I hadn't started this podcast. So there's that.
Yeah.
But that's for the love of Mercedes and for the sport. And so I say, for the sake of my hair and my mental health and everybody out there, ride the freaking mental wave. Yeah, I mean, ride the glitch.
Ride the glitch, guys. Ride the glitch. Ride the glitch. Thandie, that is mad. I didn't know that. That's assuring for me because I haven't had any. So we move on. We move on.
Podcast is giving me grace.
Oh my god, you're like,
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Please, guys, be nice to us. Stop sending us abuse, man. Like, today, I just didn't need to see the abuse today. Please
Yeah,
stop
we
sending
woke
us
up
abuse.
to a madness this morning.
It's not great. But anyway, look, paid the cost to be the boss, suffering from success, man. This is what happens. And this is why the guys who don't show that they're black, that's why they get away with it.
All these people are using emojis as their pictures, and I'm
Bruv,
criticizing them because
show
What
your
you say?
face.
when you say you're black,
Let us know. Let them know. Anyway, look, that's your platform. You do what you want with it. Not the point. Anyway, move on to the race. I want to quickly touch on, before we get into star of the day, donkey of the day, I want to quickly touch on the Max versus Charles battle. We had a round 2, and already it's feeling eerily reminiscent of last season, this, of 2 teams who are considerably faster than the rest, and then 2 lead drivers who look considerably faster than their peers. Although
Max is.
I'd be Perez.
yeah, Perez did the madness. And sorry, I mean, I did want to save it because I kind of wanted to shout him out in Star of the Day, but Perez got done over, and we can talk about that because there's a donkey of the day.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row. That's gonna get discussed, and there's obviously, I think, Star of the Day. I think there deserves to be some respect there. But before we get into that, the battle between Max and Charles at the front. And obviously this madness with the DRS zone and Charles kind of seemingly having the edge, but then Max taking it in the end. Thandie, I'll come to you and then I'll come to you, Denz. Thandie, what are your thoughts, I guess, on the emerging Max versus Charles?
It's so fun to watch, isn't it? Sorry.
No, carry on. No, it's great. There's no fucking Hamilton involved. I'm like, you guys go fucking mental, bro.
Yeah. Like, it's so fun to watch, and as I said, when there's always 2 drivers at the top, people pick a side, and it seems like Team LH has picked the obvious side. I will note, though, although it's similar to last year, the same grace hasn't been granted, wasn't granted to Lewis in a fight with Max. Max treated Lewis like absolute dog shit, and he got away with it, whereas he's not doing the exact same thing with Charles. So we have to note that. So that is what's different. But it's so much fun to watch. It's just so nice to see Charles happy in it. Like, bless him. It is nice to see him happy, and it's nice to see the seeds that Ferrari have been sowing for the past 2 years. And it's interesting to actually see that they weren't bullshitting and they were actually doing their homework. And what can we expect in it? Some of us stopped doing upgrades last year. What do you expect? Sometimes you can't just have things handed to you, you know? So people did their homework.
Yeah. And look, we were saying on this podcast, if that Ferrari was the number 1 on the grid, there would have to be serious questions because they have spent 2 years working on it off the back of an illegal car. So
yeah, and last year we just kept saying, well, we'll see. I'm silent. I've swallowed my words.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've absolutely gargled on it. Denz, that's mad. Denz, the relationship between Max and Charles, and I guess the media kind of representation of it. How are you finding it, I guess? How are you finding this new era of Formula One?
Well, it's a great question there to segue into it, Nyasha. And definitely, firstly of all, let me say, huge Charles Leclerc standboy. I'm telling you, he's the realist. That guy is the truth. Honestly, he's a bad man, you know, tactical genius, and at the same time, he's that like tapped in the head with some things as well that you just
He's a
go.
bit tapped in it.
He
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
He
He is a bit
is. He's
tapped.
just
Yeah.
got that kind of streak of madness, like, and I think that is the Ferrari spirit, and its science almost calms it down a bit, you know, and plan A, plan A, plan B kind of thing, right? But no, I have to say he's had the measure of Max, you know, over the years. He literally had Max in his back pocket in Bahrain, man. Jeez, he literally smoked Max like a galactical Dutch spliff. I'm telling you, it was
Like a
unreal.
3.5. Hold that.
Jeez. Smoked him. See the Red Bull powertrain up in flames. Like Gasly. I won't finish the rest of that because you know my other tagline. But
Yeah.
But no, coming back to your question, no, I think it is interesting, and there definitely is a difference in the narrative, how they put Max and Lewis and Leclerc and Max, because it's almost as if they're treating Max and Lewis almost as this, like, you know, the old guy versus the new guy, and the old guy has been too dominant, rare tear 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 tear. And now that you have Charles and Max, they're treating it like almost like it's a new lease of life, like it's Kane versus the Undertaker. They're trying to basically use these small stupid token gestures, like them waving at each other at the end of the race, like there's some huge big respect between them, when it's not. All that's a smoke and mirrors, because we know as soon as them, if the two of them get away and run off in the distance with the championship points, they're going to be crashes. There's going to be altercations. It's going to get real sticky, as Heady One would say, between the two of them. So all this nicey stuff that the media is trying to do with the two of them is, oh, two generational drivers of the time, and oh, it was an incident, and all of these things. That's all irrelevant, and it makes me mad, because to kind of go to your point, Nyasha, as to what you're kind of identifying, I see where you're coming from, bro. Is when it was Lewis, they went on every single limb they could to discredit him. They tried to basically over amplify the Silverstone incident, which fueled racial tensions and racial abuse towards Sir Lewis Hamilton. The amount of stick that Lewis got for his driving with Max is almost nothing compared to how they're treating Leclerc. And another thing as well that they're starting to do, like, you know, subliminally, saying, oh, Leclerc is so intelligent, he's so smart, he's using the DRS, which is cool. Give him credit for that. And by the way, I mentioned that in my HotLap guide as well. But back to the actual thing, just like Lewis is just as intelligent, and I actually respect Lewis's way of racing Max, because he had to deal with a more desperate Max that was literally fighting for a championship in a year where they didn't know whether or not they'd be competitive in the future. Obviously, Red Bull were putting that pressure on Max as well, as their great white hope, as they love to say as well. Lewis really had a hard time, and he still managed to go toe-to-toe. Whereas, well, I'll give Leclerc his due flowers, is he's not going to take none of Max's bullcrap. None of it at all. He's not on that. He's not on that at all. And going back to the media, yeah, it is a bit distasteful how, like, you know, when it's Leclerc and Max, oh yeah, no, this is sensational, generational stuff, blah, 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 narratives. But when it was Lewis, they took any opportunity they could to put him down. But I expect nothing less from these people, because that's what all three of us, and I'm sure a lot of people watching the show, would have experienced, that you have to work 10 times harder than your opponents just to even be on the same platform as them. And it's crazy.
I wish that they still had the cool off room. Remember when they used to show the cool off room? You'd hear people doing little snidey remarks, dirty looks would be passed. I want to see the cool off room. It was called the cool off room.
It was the cool down room. Cool down room?
Yeah.
Cool down room, yeah. Yeah. I am not happy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Bum.
I just don't think that it's, I think, like I said, that I just think that I think it's an absolute piss take from Sky to and Red Bull themselves as well. I think in order of piss takes is Red Bull. No, it's Helmut Marko, then Christian, then Sky. In terms of, are you actually taking the piss at me? Like, am I a dickhead? Like, you're coming here telling me, oh, the battle with, I think Helmut said the battle with Ferrari is so much better now. Christian's come out and said stuff about it. I think Martin Brundle was like, the difference, but this season is so much more noticeable. There's no chance of Charles Leclerc getting racist abuse from the Orange Army. Like, that's not going to happen. I doubt Jos Verstappen is going to say that Charles Leclerc was handed some kind of performance-enhancing drugs before a race. I doubt that Red Bull are going to go to the FIA and make statements against Hamilton's character or also against Leclerc's character. If they have a race, they're going to say, like, Leclerc deliberately took him out because Leclerc's a bad sportsman, this, that, and the other. There were so many things last year which were rooted in racism, which we had to call out. So we then get labeled as sensitive, or we get labeled as DTS fans. Even if I was a DTS fan, I can still see racism. Don't fucking like. It doesn't matter when I started watching the sport. I know I've been black since I was born, brother. That is not the point at all. So for me to constantly see these articles now, I just feel like I'm being taken for a dickhead, because Red Bull fanned the flames, Helmut Marko fanned the flames, Sky Sports lapped it all up. And we're pushing Verstappen as this one of the greatest drivers of all time. I think they would say I remember someone saying he's a Dutch lion. Of course he's not going to pull out of moves, encouraging this dirty driving to the point where we were like, hey, this standard is not acceptable. That has now been rectified. The FIA report has now said that the style of driving that was seen last season would not be accepted this season. So what we were saying last season was completely correct. It wasn't out of because we're just blind Hamilton fans who can't see anything other than admiration of Hamilton. So I just, again, this sport just really is just like one gaslight after the other, and I just like this weekend. Obviously, I'm in a bad mood. We lost, whatever. Like, people can say that, but I'm not fueled by the fact that Hamilton didn't finish well. I'm fueled by the fact that there's things which we have spoken about time and time again, and then we are told something along those lines months later, and it's like, well, hang on, you can't say that. Bullshit. But anyway, I'm glad that it's clean so far. I'm glad it's not toxic. I did notice the Orange Army, I did notice Red Bull fans / Checo fans all up in Latifi's comments, sending all kinds of shit. I wonder if we're going to get statements from everyone. I wonder if anyone's going to... Do you know what I mean? I don't see any like, you Checo fans, you... I'm not going to do the rest because that would be racist. So, like, I'm just saying, it's not fun. It's not fun. And the way that Team LH get treated just for pointing shit out is a madness. And then it gets sold back to us as like... Exactly. But anyway, let's fucking slander some guys. Donkey of the day. Let's go.
That fucking industry plant Latifi.
Get this guy off the grid!
We tried last year. We tried it. They said these men are bullying. Quick stop F1. You guys are really nasty to everyone. Can't you just like someone? I warned you about this industry plant. I could smell it from a mile away. We're tired. It's enough. Why are you here? How did you get here? Who dropped you?
We know how we got here. We know how we got here.
We know how you got here. Who's funding you?
I was doing the money sign for those on the podcast.
Yeah, the money sign, the moolah. Latifi.
That's the craziest thing as well. How are you a shooter? You ain't even hit the rim. Like, it's wild to me that you're still in F1. And also, Williams are going to get some of that second-hand smoke as well, because that Josh Capito guy, oh yeah, Russell's going to walk into Mercedes. Oh, he's going to wipe the floor with Lewis. Fam, focus on your own Ross Clark team. Are you mad?
Hey,
Like he's got bigger issues to worry about. You know? They're
big issues right now,
bro,
Dent.
big
There's
issue.
big issues.
Like the newspaper, bro.
And
they're
no man need to be homeless. I'm just saying, like, because they've not gone forward. And look, again, I don't want to disrespect the people who work at Williams, okay? And I don't want to disrespect, like, because I actually realize we have a platform, and we're not just two people on a podcast chatting shit anymore. We're not actually quite big. Don't worry. But so I don't want this to come off as like the people who work in the team who go there and that's their job, and you know you're working hard and you've had a really shit fucking long time, right? 6-7 years, right? Or 2018 really, we would say. So what's that, like 4 years? But Nicky Latifi, I wanted to say this last season. I wasn't allowed to say it. I'm saying it this season. This guy is trash.
He sucks.
He's been trash, and his performance this weekend, if that was Mazepin, there would be worldwide denouncing of what he'd done. He'd binned it in practice. Was it practice or qualifying? It was qualifying, wasn't it? Was it qualifying? Qualifying.
Yeah.
You've binned it in qualifying, you've then binned it before we've got to like what, a third of the race? Like, your teammate is driving that car fine. This is not like a harsh situation where the car is undrivable. Your teammate is driving that car. He's competing with the back end of the midfield. A driver that's not been in Formula 1 for a year, by the way. You've been there for 2 years straight. Embarrassing. Someone check his bank account now. Because there's some orange money.
The books aren't adding up.
Bruv, it's not adding up. There's some orange money.
Where did that amount come from? Why did they give you that random amount last year in December?
Bruv, check his fridge.
Where did that come from?
All this Nutella that's in his fridge, where's that coming from?
Where's that coming from?
I want to know. Is it from the Netherlands? Because it's not adding up for me, fam. It's not, I can't understand how you're bidding it twice in 2 days. I don't understand how twice in 3 races you're affecting the outcome of the race. And we're not allowed to be mad at you for Abu Dhabi, for crashing on the last 5 laps when you're in 18th place. But everyone's sucking on the teat. Everyone's trying to be nice. We're not. That's a mad thing you've just done, Thandie.
Well, do you know what? Wait, I recently watched Meet the Parents. And he's like, have you ever watched Meet the Parents? He's like, how would you milk? You want to milk my cat? That's what I just thought of.
But that was the podcast. Thandie literally initiated milking an animal and was putting that in her mouth. That is crazy. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's enough for me. Latifi, I'm done. You're first person on Fraud Watch. Like, done.
Fraudulent activities, part 2.
Part 2. Denz,
Part
tell me about
2.
Latifi, bro.
Bro, there's nothing to say. Honestly, my mom used to say, if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Because that's what it's getting that peak for my guy. Like, I shouldn't even be saying my guy. He's not my guy to begin with. But, yo, just all you have to do, bro, is just drive the car. Bring it home. Brother, the way you're driving, Williams are going to go and supersede their 140 million cost cap. You're going to make the whole team go bankrupt, brother, the way that you're moving. Like, it's selfish. It's getting to the point now where it's actually selfish because why? Like, why? And sometimes we know that the Williams is not a championship winning car. Cool. All it just takes is just getting some momentum, driving the car, letting the engineers back in the team see the data, gathering all this thing that you can improve the car. They can't even do that because the guy's wrecking the car in lap 17. Yo, and then, again, just to touch on the point that you said as well, Nyasha, that, like, yeah, huge shout out. It's not like the Williams mechanics or engineers, or those guys are working overtime, brother. You know, for the amount of work that this guy creates for them. It's the higher ups. And where I was going earlier with my Just Capito comments was, you can't come out with all this chest, big man, and you don't have the bra to wear that, bro. Like, bro, you're gonna have to do way, 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 way better. And Williams, it's sad because you would have thought that the new owners would re-inject some life into, a sad ending of a family-owned team, and it's just stagnated. It hasn't improved, and honestly, I feel so sorry for Claire that's probably at home watching this disaster show happen week in, week out. And God bless Frank as well. Brother, I just pray that you're resting easy, because it's a disastrous monstrosity. Honestly, it can't go on. And for all the talk, they need to show more ambition in their driver lineup. You've seen, and you said it perfectly, bro, that Haas were in a toxic relationship. And then you see when you cut off the toxic relationship and you're just living that organic free range lifestyle, brother. Now you're flourishing. Now your cup's overflowing. Now the Danish Viking, he's holding off Lewis. Credits to him. Now you're seeing that, well, besides Mick, which I'll leave for another day, the car, at least one car is coming home, guaranteed, race after race. And it's as simple as that. Sometimes teams don't need to look at the money. They need to actually look at the long term and the longevity of building a team, building drivers, building people around those drivers. And I can't see that with Williams. So it's unfortunate that they're in the position. But long may it continue whilst that sideman's inside there. Sideman at breakfast, sideman at lunch, sideman at dinner, sideman flipping at night when he's drinking his Milo and Horlicks. Absolute sideman. Coleslaw. And them man there. Nah, finish.
100%. He is. It's enough. I just had a look at the qualifying results, and his lap that he did do was 1.3 seconds slower than Nico Hülkenberg in the Aston Martin.
Context check as well, yeah? Nico Hülkenberg's had a my guy's term big baby daddy and that. He hasn't driven in the simulator a lot as a part of his father duties. He did no competitive racing, world endurance, GT3s, none of that. He's on the sidelines. And he's had no input in the development of this new Aston Martin. Zero. From zero. And even the Aston Martin's not one of the competitive cars right now. They're going through, but even then, just for the sake of pride, again, you can't make this stuff up.
It's crazy. He's got to go. Like he was already a marked man. I'm not gonna lie, yeah. Honestly, I'll be honest. Marked man from Abu Dhabi. Yeah, like, cool. You fucked up. That's not your fault. Okay. You cannot start this season doing the same shit. Because now I'm like your place in history is now like you're pissing me off a lot. When someone violates you, yeah, and you forgive them, but you don't actually forgive them, and now they just keep violating. You're like, I'm not happy with this guy. There's so many talented drivers that could be on this grid that are not in this grid. There's so many drivers that it's a problem with the system. Thandie, paid drivers. Some people say they're all paid drivers because everyone's got to bring money, this and the other. But I don't know. Is there even that much more to say? Do you think that F1 has a problem, I guess, right? With the fact that teams feel they have to hire drivers like Mazepin, like Latifi, to bring enough money for them to run a Formula One team.
Money will always run Formula One, just like we started this podcast on the discussion. Money will always dominate Formula One over morals, over sportsmanship, over talent, over a lot of things, yeah? He's just bringing in money. He's funding it.
Oh, what I will say, I hope all the people that were getting at Zhou Guanyu for being a paid driver and not having any talent and not being deserving of a seat in Formula One, I'm looking forward to you guys and all your tweets, all of your abuse, all of your think pieces about this fucking fraud. Get him out. Donkey. Donkey, right.
I'm not here for any Zhou slander, by the way.
That's my guy. I'm
looking-
proud. Wait, I'm proud of you. Proud of you.
You wanna he coming swagged up, okay?
This
Joe is the best dressed after Lewis. Can we just
100%.
say?
Effortlessly as well.
That's
Effortless.
it. You can tell he hasn't tried. He hasn't tried, so I'm not here for any of that slander.
Nah, that's my second driver right now, bro.
Is it?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's my second driver. Like, because you know what, yeah? Big man thing. I followed Ish
Mm.
F2 last year.
Yeah.
I followed Ish. Like, this season, I need to, like, I've missed the first 2 races. But last season, I followed it, yeah?
He was a standout for you, wasn't he?
I wouldn't say standout, but he was solid, right? He was a solid driver. He had a chance to win the title. He could have won the title. So in no way was he ever on the level of Mazepin, of like, he doesn't deserve to be here. But there's characteristics that he has, his nationality being one, his ethnicity being one, that people jumped at the opportunity to say he shouldn't be there. And obviously, look, Piastri won and hasn't got a seat. So I get it. But people who haven't won F2 have not got into Formula One before.
Yeah.
And people who have not done as well in F2 have got into Formula One before. So yeah, I will not have any Joe slander at all. Denz, do you have do you have anything to add to that? But do you have a separate donkey of the day?
Ooh, well, not necessarily. No, I think you guys were on the money with your award there for Donkey of the Day. I think it's fully justified, paid in full, like the film. And the only other honorable shout I'll say for that as well is FIA, because I think that they truly screwed Lewis as well. Indirectly. I'm not saying for the conspiracy theorists and people slam me. I think indirectly, because one, you had this debacle with the safety car line. He had Sainz coming out of the pits. He crossed the safety car line first before Perez did. I'm not sure, obviously, that Perez crowded out Sainz deliberately, as Martin Brundle and the guys love to dramatize. But it was clear, even just looking back at it, that Sainz had crossed the line first. Why was it that the FIA basically allowed Red Bull to make the call on it? And why was the move made after the safety car had started? Because then the issue you have with that is that essentially Leclerc and Max had already jetted off. And by the time Perez had reverted the positions back to Sainz had missed his ticket to try and pursue Max, which was completely unfair on him, considering he was the justified party in that. So the FIA screwed that up. And then the second thing I'm gonna roast them for as well, as we touched on, safety, the pit entry lane, and this the confusion of them not closing the pit lane entry when you had 2 clear cars blocking the entry, marshals pushing 2 cars down, and yet like you let Magnussen and Hulkenberg pit, and then by the time Lewis would have probably had the opportunity to do it, he just said, yeah, lock off the pits closed.
What I'm gonna say is, I want to have a discussion about this actually, because my donkey of the day was going to be the Mercedes strategy team.
Oof, uncharted waters, bro.
I could have called this.
But look, and this is what I wanted to have a discussion about, right? Because again, full disclosure, after the race, I went in on the Mercedes strategy crew, right? And I was like, these guys have history. We're not sorting, like, the communication isn't good. Why didn't Lewis come in? Magnussen came in. We're now behind Magnussen, or we're now 13th, 14th, wherever we came out in the end. We're having to recover just to get a point. There are issues in that team. It was a 3.9 second pit stop as well. Like, there is something fundamentally wrong. However, video footage has come out. The Mercedes crew, I think there's a message from Bono to say, obviously there's a car in the pit lane, however, box. Lewis comes around like 4 seconds later. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. Essentially, he looks at it. He's like, it's too. He said it's too late. Basically, I think that there is some leftover from Monza 2020, where Lewis pits, even though he's not supposed to, and he gets a penalty. I think there may be even Russia 2020 leftover, where he's done a practice start and he's got a penalty for it. I don't think there's people on Twitter could talk about Lewis and Bono as much as they like, and I think they work well, but I don't think Lewis trusts the Mercedes strategy team as much as a 7-time world champion should trust their team. And I think we can look at Turkey last year, where he should have come in, but he wanted to stay out on his tyres, and that cost him 3rd place. I think we can look at multiple places where, and times when he has overruled them and it's turned out correctly. Times where he's done what they've done and he's had to bail them out because of his strategy or because of his good driving. So this is a ramble to say, I don't think Mercedes strategy team are 100% at fault for Lewis not coming into the pits. So I'm not going to give them donkey of the day. But I don't think that the communication was as strong as it could have been. I think they could have been like, Lewis, yes, there's a car slowing down in the pit lane. Yes, there's marshals on track, but we need you to come in. If you don't come in, the strategy is fucked. And if you don't come in, then we're going to basically, the pit lane's going to get closed and you're not going to be able to pit. We can all see that as armchair fans. Like, if he doesn't come in, then they're going to close the pit lane. We're just waiting for them to close the pit lane. We're like, it's an opportunity because, like you say, Denzel, straight away they should have been like, pit lane closed, because there's a car, I think there's 2 cars rolling down the pit lane. And if you watch Magnussen's video of him coming in, he kind of crosses the line and you're not supposed to cross the line. Anyway, I've talked a lot, so I don't want to go on too much. But one, the FIA contributed to Mercedes wavering by not just closing the pit lane. But 2, Mercedes are not cut out for not being at the front strategy-wise. And I don't think that they do enough to enable Lewis to feel comfortable enough in the car to execute snap decisions. Denzel, I see you wanted to say something.
No, I think you articulated that point brilliantly, bro. Honestly, I think you've said everything I wanted to say there. Yeah, like, it always felt that Mercedes were going to be on the back foot with this one because they started the race on a hard tire. And I think maybe the idea behind that is because it's a new circuit, the surface is not abrasive, the tire degradation was fairly low, meaning that everyone was looking to do the one stop. By starting on a hard tire, that assumes that essentially they were going to run long and then put the heat on in the final segment of the race when they were on the softer compound compared to everyone else. The issue and the real spanner in the works of that, of course, is Latifi having the crash on lap 17. And it puts you in a real sticky situation because it's a 50-lap race. It's lap 17. You'd basically have to do 33 laps on a set of mediums, which I guess they didn't have the data for. So they didn't put him under the first safety car. Fair enough. And then, like you said as well, you spot on the money with that as well, bro. I think had it just been any other scenario and they had nothing else to lose, they would have probably just tried to take the risk on box him anyway with that pit entry kind of gamble. But I think, again, they just had the ghost of Monza when I think they were harshly penalized because that car that basically caused the pit lane to close was nowhere near the pit lane entry.
It was completely different to what they did.
That was.
Yeah, like I think I want to save smoke for the obviously carry on. Mm-hmm. But I think we need to judge this new FIA team as harshly as we judged Massey because there's some stuff that's happening that is not correct. But anyway, carry on. Sorry, Dens.
Yeah, it's shaky, and I'm glad we're going to touch on that as well. And then, yeah, with the whole coming into the pits under the kind of safety cars blocking the entry, it's sticky. And you can tell with Mercedes, they don't want to take too many gambles right now. They know that they don't have the outright fastest car to just like basically pull off a masterclass, as the English would say, and like do it. And that they're adapting to that as well. But yeah, they kind of played their cards maybe a bit too safe, maybe a bit too conservative. Had they taken the risk, maybe he would have been able to overtake Magnussen and whoever finished P9 as well. But I think just P9 and P8. But again, they looked at it and maybe they had shades of those previous incidents as well. And people underestimate how much previous incidents like that affect your judgment, because you have to bear in mind, Lewis was so clear in that 2020 Grand Prix that Gasly ended up winning. He literally, that whole thing cost him a race win. So it's this fine, tiny margin sometimes that can let you down. And I feel, again, if the FIA are more just authoritative and they don't leave anything to be left to their imagination, they just come out and say, boom, this is what it is. No gray area whatsoever, then we will appreciate that more as the fans. And I think the teams will be able to understand that too. But then when you've got Mercedes not knowing if they're going to basically impede a penalty, and I watched it as Lewis was going past, well, when you see the radio message and Lewis drive, Ricciardo was literally hopping out of the seat like this. So if Lewis had only crossed the white line now whilst Ricciardo was getting out of the car, you would have seen something else online. Lewis is dangerous. Lewis didn't take the well-being of a fellow driver into consideration. You literally can't win. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So
yeah,
it's a wake-up call for them, and I'm definitely hopeful they'll pick up on that. But yeah, they need to step it up. They need to continue turning the clocks and considering all options. And yeah, for the fact that they started on a hard tire it's kind of similar to how they were when they were dominant. You could run in clean air and you had the luxury of just having the option of to go on what tire you wanted. Now it's different. You can't just go on a hard tire, because if a safety car comes out and then you have to pick another mandatory tire and go 30 laps on it, it's a tall order.
Yeah, they've got to be more aggressive, and we've always said that. Cool. I think that's all Donkey's star of the day. I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
After you. After you.
You know what? Somebody tweeted me last week, and said like, "Oh, I agree with Thandie. Like, we shouldn't like Russell." And you know what? I just want to make it clear that's not what I was trying to say.
You're the voice of the voiceless now. That's your crew.
No,
the Russell haters.
No, I'm not part of that crew. I never said that. You guys didn't listen to me. You guys just see me and you think she's on crud. I never said that, okay? I said I could use you. The question Nyasha asked was, why do you think there are some fans who have that opinion? Some fans, you did not say me. And I said, do you know what? Some people might look at him like a step parent that's come in, like a stepmom.
Yeah.
Or who's come in and we are curious of him.
Yeah,
what did the fans run with? Thandie's anti-Russell. Get her.
But also, well, not last season.
Listen,
last season you were. Last season you had trepidation about Russell joining. So I guess because we have fans who listen to the show.
Right, and if you haven't listened to the show, I do advise you to go back and you listen to last week's episode. But I also need you to go back and listen to the episode where it was me, you, and Aldous, yeah. And you asked us again, this one's the insinuator. You're the one who's making these people come after
Instigator.
me. Instigator, yeah. You asked, Thandie, what's your opinions on George Russell? And I said, you know what? I have bought the ticket, but it's not,
It's a return ticket.
It's a return ticket.
Open return.
It's an open return. So
yeah.
I could come back anytime.
Come back anytime you want.
Yeah. But that doesn't, just because I can come back anytime I want, doesn't mean I'm not going to go.
Okay.
You know
have you gone in?
I got on the train.
Have you got on the train?
Obviously, I had to get on the train because...
You got no choice?
Yeah, I've got to because...
Last train home.
I'm AMG. It's last train home.
Yeah.
Everyone else has gone. Everyone else has gone there. Everyone else has gone there. When you got on the Haas train.
Uber's fucking 4 times. Like...
I've been on Free Now's not working. Uber's not working.
Bolt.
Yeah, Bolt. They banned me. That's a different
But I thought you were Mrs. Bolt. You literally said that. You said Bolt. No. Oh, is that why Bolt know you by name? Oh my god, that's hilarious. Anyway, look, I was banned from Uber for like 2 years.
Were you?
Yeah, back in the day, you could order Ubers with not enough money on your account, and then they would charge you afterwards. So I think I just done some mad long journey, yeah, and like they're like, you owe us like £60. Like New Year's Eve, I went to like from London to Kent. And it was like this. It's like no, it's like £120 or some shit, and I just never paid it. And then after 2 years, I was like, I don't know. They were just like, welcome back. I was like, oh shit,
Been waiting for you.
big win for me. Uber everywhere now. No, definitely I drive. But what are you saying?
To be fair, I'm the same with Trainline. For some reason, Trainline, when they see me type in my name and my card details, they don't purchase a ticket. I don't know why that is.
Well, look, and that's why she's having to get on the George Russell hype train, guys. Shout out to our guys who are not in England, who don't know any of the companies that we're talking about right now. So
yeah, Trainline have blocked me. Please unblock me, guys. You know I travel up and down the country.
She does. She's just international.
But yeah, I never said I was against George Russell. It's not even like a Valtteri Bottas. I look at him like a strict parent. It's more just one of those like, who are you? Man down. Where you from? Who's your stay? You know what I mean? Like it was just one of them where what you about, are you gang? And I've always said like he's a great driver, and so I'm giving him my star of the day.
Okay.
That would be the twist.
I was gonna say
I'm actually giving him my star of the day because I think he settled well in the Mercedes. Even though we're 2 races in, I do think he has settled well. And I just don't want you to think like Thandie's like against everyone. Like I think some of you guys got this agenda that like I just attack I'm not an attacker, I'm a lover, not a fighter. Okay? Anyway, so yeah.
Okay, no, I like it. You had to come in, do some PR.
Yeah.
Clean up your own mess. I like
damage limitations.
Damage, yeah, I hear it. Look.
I've got better PR than Latifi. I'll tell you that.
Whoa, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
So my PR don't fail on me, and I just wanted to make it clear. And there was actually a page on Instagram that tagged me, and they were like, she thinks she doesn't trust your. I didn't say that.
Thandie's you're getting tagged by the blogs.
The blogs started tagging me. He said that, and you know how when it runs with the blogs, you get those 10-year-olds like, ha, who asked this black?
You see, this is what I mean about the platform growing, yeah. And the thing is, people do things with like good intentions, right?
Yeah.
And we're not blasting the people who share the stuff, and we're not blasting, anyone who supports us. Yeah. But we are experiencing all of this in real time. Okay, like
I'm not gonna lie to you. Me and Nyasha woke up to the most disgusting racism in our Instagram comments this morning. I ate racism for breakfast. Are you hearing me? I ate racism.
I'm laughing, but it's not nice.
It was racism.
Yeah, it
was disgusting. So when I'm saying this stuff, I'm saying it not only to clarify, but at the same time to just protect myself from those who were already waiting to attack a black woman in Formula One. You know what I mean? But yeah.
No, thank you. No, that's a really good point. And like, again, as much as I am, I guess, probably more prominent in like everything that we do, Thandie gets a disproportionate amount of bad stuff, and that is just a highlight of how black women are treated in this world, and F1 is a microcosm of that. And for me, it's disgusting, and it's like it's a big reason, I guess, why I do try and deal with as much of the shit as possible, because I don't want you to see that. But obviously, like you're gonna
both our mental health matters.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? You've got to see it, but like it like sometimes it affects me as well, and I don't want to take this down like a depressing kind of route. But I guess to counteract that, the support that we get is incredible, and we love it when you guys share stuff. We love it when you guys do stuff. I guess keep in mind, if you do support us, if you're sharing our stuff, don't make it contentious talking points, because that
Everybody hurt.
yeah, everybody cries. That was me. That's why I got the red wine. Sometimes.
My trigger finger, my Twitter fingers turn to trigger fingers. I'm not afraid to set it off with some of you.
Thandie's not doing. I mean, neither am I. But you know, I feel like that's just the brand identity now. Sorry, Denz.
Sorry,
George,
yeah.
quickly, because we've been on for a while. This might be the longest ever podcast we've done. You know what it is, yeah? There's no timer.
Yeah. Say that,
For the last half an hour, I've wondered how long have we been putting for, and I was like, I think we're like an hour and a half now. So,
glitch.
So yeah, riding the glitch. Denz, big AMGDenz Mercedes fan. Last time I spoke to you, obviously, last time I spoke to you, we speak quite a lot, but last time I spoke to you on the podcast was the season review show. I don't think we touched on George Russell joining Mercedes, but as a diehard Mercedes fan, how are you finding George at the team? Because I'll be honest, I think he is incredible. I had high expectations and he surpassed those expectations. But I guess, how have you felt about it?
Yeah, well, firstly of all, Nyasha, I'll come back to that question because it's a good one. Firstly of all, I just want to say as well, people that are like trolling and being really nasty online, listen, you don't need to do stuff like that. It's really unacceptable at this time that we have people doing stuff like that. I feel if you are one of those people sending either Nyasha or Thandie abusive messages, you need to get a life, because it's not really good enough and you guys just suck. And personally, for me, it's not good enough. Everyone's entitled to have opinions. We don't have to agree all on the same things. But there's a line, and I've never seen Quick Stop ever cross that line or do anything contentious or do like kind of like witch hunt against people, which has ever been distasteful. So I would really appreciate if people could be just as respectful as they've been and, show the love that they've exhibited all the time. Also, this is fans like myself. If you see any of that stuff happening online, report it straight away, because we don't want to lose Thandie. We don't want to lose Nyasha. They literally, I need this content. It's like my blood. It just goes through my veins. I need it. And it would really suck for me if you guys felt like, like, you know what? I don't have to put, because you guys don't. It's honestly a choice for you guys, and you shouldn't be subject to these horrible trolls and wicked bad mind people. Fire burn them. So listen, that's just
Bad
my
mind.
quick. Trust me, like they're just wicked, and like yeah, you can do the higher ground thing, and you could ignore it to an extent, but it does affect people, and it's funny how people will talk about Latifi's mental health like that. But then when it comes to us now, like we're expected to smile and laugh and it's okay. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. Like no, it's not good enough. Stop doing that. If you don't like the content, cool. I'm sure there's something out there for you. But
there isn't anything like us though.
Trust me. This is next level content. And if you can't understand the plethora and array of brilliance, yeah, trust me, like, you got some like Jamie Oliver, Jerk Rice, bland kind of people out here. And I hate to see it, but
we will do.
Trust me. But, just back to the question now, because I appreciate it.
Thank you, Denz, for real. Appreciate that.
Anytime. And that's just me as just a fan calling it out as I see it. But to go back to the question, yes, Russell, super impressed with him. I don't want to call him Mr. Mercedes. I think that title is always going to be reserved for Lewis in my heart personally. But again, he's been a really great understudy. And I like how calm he is. I like how passionate he is. He's very good in the way he articulates his points. I think at times I was slightly worried about him, because when he had the incident at Imola with Valtteri, He's quick not to really take accountabilities for his actions, and he is very quick to be quite aggressive. But then I look at all the young drivers, and I think all of them have that kind of dark side to them. You see it with Lando and the way that he treats Daniel. You see it in the cold and calculated way Max is. You even see it with the way how Leclerc is. So I think that's just a generational thing with all the young drivers. They got that kind of sick, kind of like nasty side to them. But so far, I think he's really understood the assignment. He's not too far off of Lewis either. And he's just putting in mileage. And that's what we love to see. Hopefully he can get a win. That would be really nice at some point in the season. But yeah, he just needs to keep his head down. Listen, get the tunnel vision on, stay in your own lane, work with Lewis. Don't work against him. Work with him. That guy is brilliant. He's sensational. So you could learn so much, and that is honestly probably one of the rarest opportunities that people get to say they worked alongside Sir Lewis Hamilton at the start of a new generation to collaboratively build the car. And, he'll have the keys to the team in the future, and he'll be the one that's going to progress them further. So far, super impressed, but, it doesn't stop. He needs to continue the positive trajectory.
100%. I want to quickly touch on Sergio Perez. Well done.
Proud.
11 years. A lot of bad cars you've driven or mid cars you've driven. I do like Sergio. I take the piss. I don't know what you know. What you know what? Let me not lie.
Yeah.
I didn't rate Sergio Perez. Okay, I didn't, and people would say stuff to us, and I'll just be like, he's a big Perez fan. Paris.
Yeah.
And every time I mention Paris, she will say something. Big up Paris on the chicane.
Just watch Paris be like, why do you guys keep lying on my name?
Yeah, I never said that.
I didn't say that.
I did not say that. You definitely did, because it was on Twitter, and I will bring it up. But no, she was defending Paris, and she always makes really good points about him. And there's probably things that when you're not a fan of him, you will not pick up on. Like if you don't watch a driver properly, you might not pick up on stuff. And also, my wheel knowledge might not be as extensive as I'd like it to be, and maybe I need to, start to. I think doing a podcast makes you start focusing on people that aren't your favorite driver more. And he's got some good characteristics. Oh yeah, ride the glitch. So all I would say is, we always knew the race craft was there. Well, I always knew the tyre management was there. I think last year we saw the racecraft with all his battles with Lewis. And I think if he can keep this up, I hope this isn't a fluke, because I'd love him to keep this up. If he can continually out-qualify Max, he is a big spanner in the works for Red Bull, because he would have. I don't want to say he definitely wouldn't have won, and I think it's impossible to say. There's always going to be some kind of safety car situation in Jeddah, but for that safety car to come out the literal lap after he pitted was like. And to be fair, Red Bull got baited into pitting by Ferrari, so I don't even think that's when they wanted to pit. So it was either get done by the undercut or get done by the safety car. He was never going to win that race. So unlucky, but I'm really happy for him. I really want him to just continue doing this, because it'll be great. I'm all over it. Thandie, thoughts on Sergio Perez? Checo? Okay. Denz?
Oh man, that silence is brilliant. Oh man, Bad B Perez. Listen, I've actually always been a fan of him, because he was a Ferrari Academy driver to begin with. Did years at Force India, then got the chance at McLaren when I think Lewis left, which is quite big.
Lewis's replacement, yeah.
Exactly, but again, went to McLaren at the wrong time, didn't work out for him there, ended up going to a meaty midfield team. He's been part of the furniture at Sauber and then Force India. And then what people will forget as well is he was the big part in that racing point. VJ Malia kind of downfall of the team when he saved all of the employees and their jobs by basically helping initiate the administration process, so they could find a consortium of new buyers, being Lance Stroll's dad and some other multi-billionaires as well. So he's done his charity work in the sport. His outright pace has always been an asterisk, and his qualifying as well has not always been the best. But then again, you don't get points on Saturday. Everything has to be done on Sunday. And he just has a way of just caressing, like literally, Perez, that guy that you just go to like the spa, he's just caressing the tires nicely. He's chatting to the tires. If Perez was a guy in the club, you'd be the smoothest guy with the tires.
Wait, this guy, he's like massaging, just nice little massage on the tires, not in the club.
Yeah.
Like in the club, he's hands free. Consent is sexy. But at the massage parlor, where you're allowed to do that, caressing it nicely. Sergio, this is so wonderful. I will last forever on track.
Exactly.
Carry on.
And that is one of his biggest strengths, which you see in the safety. Funnily enough, Perez was actually, he was a victim of his own strategy, because if this was Perez in an uncompetitive car now, he would have been one of the guys basically on a hard tire or like a soft tire, and he would have been one of those people that would have stayed out and then gained positions under the safety car if it had come out later. So funnily enough, he was actually a victim of his own strength. But in that sense as well, like as much as I don't like Red Bull, I don't like what they stand for. I we don't even need to get into them man and their 19th Cayman century logic or thinking. But he's the outsider of that. I think he's a good ambassador for himself. I think there's a lot of insight as well, because he's not taking Max's setups. He's trying to do his own setups, which is good. It's nice to take your own direction, do your own thing, because when Max is suffering with his 1-carat boots and struggling, then, Perez can do his own thing and have his own route to his destination, which is brilliant to see. So yeah, like you said, I hope they can keep it up. He should be able to, but again, you never know. And if it's a case where Max gets the upper hand and he's the lead driver into a championship, I do fear that they're going to basically use Perez as a chicane, shout on the chicane, as just an obstacle course to the Ferrari drivers or anyone else that's going to put a threat to Max. So he really has to fight for his position.
He does. Well, look, big up Perez, big up George, and big up Denzel.
Well, who's the driver of the day?
That's what we're doing. I feel like everyone's forgotten how the format goes. So it's one each, not one overall. But quickly, because we have been on here for an hour and 45 minutes.
What?
I think so. If we started at 1:45, 10 this is a long one. So
content for days.
Look, there's a lot of fan cams going to be made out of this. Trust me. Denzel,
driver of the day?
Quick one. Driver of the day.
Listen, Ocon. Honestly, the French, the suave French guy with the je ne sais quoi, as they say, J'adore Esteban Ocon. Honestly, brilliant. He was fighting with Fernando Alonso. Listen, he wasn't having none of El retirement plan. He was sticking it on my man, which is great to see. Nice as well that Otmar Satnav and them man just let them race on circuit without the team orders. Great. He was defending from George Russell as well, which gets a lot of hype from the British media. Yeah. And again, he's one of them guys. I think Tommy would say this as well. He's just slept on, but again, he's a dangerous guy. You give him the right tools, right cars, you can just pull up on a matting. So
I highly enjoyed him and Fernando Alonso's battle. I think Fernando ended up winning out in the end, but he ended up retiring. And look, I think that's going to be a fascinating battle to see. But look, guys, we've got to bounce. Jesus Christ. Longest podcast we've ever done. But I think fans are going to like it. I think there's some really good shit in here. I've really enjoyed this chat. Denz, thank you so much for coming on. I think there's a round of applause. Hopefully everyone can hear that. I'm going to just turn it up. See, there you go. Round of applause for you. Stop. And where can people find you?
I just try and keep it simple, and it's literally just AMGDenz. You don't know where to find me. Literally, listen. I'm on fire like Gasly. In the streets, the Call me Plantain Piastri, man. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
There
But
you go,
AMGDenz,
there you
Twitter,
go.
YouTube, Instagram, all the same thing.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So guys, make sure you go and follow Denz. Make sure you listen to the podcast. Can you say the name of the podcast again, please?
Yeah, so you've got the DRS zone with myself, Rhett Jackson, and also Rory Dunn. And then also I'm in the Sri Lankan market as well with my good friend Georgina Donna as well. She has a
Nice.
segment called Stripping the Dipping. So we talk about a bit of F1 stuff there too. And again, interesting to see different perspectives in different parts of the world we wouldn't imagine. So shout out to Georgina as well.
For sure. I think she messaged us to go on there. So maybe I might go on there, and maybe Thandie, if Thandie wants to do press relations, we will see.
One of us.
Your people.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna go. Follow us, like the video, subscribe, review. If you listen to this on Apple, I beg, review. I might actually just start a competition in a minute because we only got 17 reviews. I need more.
Yeah.
I need
We'll
more.
do a giveaway.
We'll do
Giveaway.
a giveaway because we might be able to do.
Yeah.
We're gonna be able to do that soon.
Yeah,
Look, guys. Not gonna lie to you. There are gonna be some changes around here.
There's about to be some changes,
There's about
man.
to be some changes around here. We are gonna start putting adverts on the podcast.
Yeah.
We have enough listeners to do that now. You will be interrupted by adverts.
Yeah.
Conversely, there will be a Patreon if you want to have an ad-free broadcast, and if you want to support us and do that, and we'll be able to obviously then create more content. Someone sent us a message, really appreciated it. They're like, love your stuff. We need more uploads. I'm trying.
One person. There's one person.
Literally one of us.
There's only one of them. I can't edit.
Like, it's just me,
I'm
bro.
just here. I'm
It's
just
just
here for a
me.
good time, not a long time. Do you know what I
You know what I
mean?
mean? But luckily, Thandie secured us something else today. So, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But round and round. Look, that's neither here nor there. But be aware of that. We're going to announce that probably after the Australian Grand Prix. So, the Australian Grand Prix is probably going to be. Well, actually, no, this might be the last one where there's no adverts, and then Australian Grand Prix. So, look.
We got Hollywood on y'all.
Yeah, and we need look, we need the money. So we don't. That's the thing, we don't. But it would be nice. Anyway, guys, love you. See you. Oh, Thandie.
No, please don't ask me. Please.
No. Okay.
Don't ask me.
Okay. At some point, we need something to close the show with. We can't just keep saying bye. Okay, well, look, that's what we're going to do. Guys, we will see you for the pre-race show for the Australian Grand Prix. Am I going to do that live? I will decide on the day. It's at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's in 2 weeks?
That's in 2 weeks' time. So enjoy the break. Let's revitalize ourselves. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you for the Australian Grand Prix. Take care.
Right away. Bye.
Bye.
These guys.